Lima, Lima, is the capital and the largest city of Peru. It is located in the valleys of the Chillón, Rímac and Lurin rivers, in the central coastal part of the country, overlooking the Pacific Ocean. Together with the seaport of Callao, it forms a contiguous urban area known as the Lima metropolitan area. With a population of almost 10 million, Lima is the most populous metropolitan area of Peru, and the third largest city in the Americas, just behind São Paulo and Mexico City. Lima was founded by Spanish conquistador Francisco Pizarro on January 18, 1535, as Ciudad de los Reyes. It became the capital and most important city in the Spanish Viceroyalty of Peru. Following the Peruvian War of Independence, it became the capital of the Republic of Peru. Today, around one-third of the Peruvian population lives in the metropolitan area. Lima is home to one of the oldest higher learning institutions in the New World, the National University of San Marcos, founded on May 12 of 1551, during Spanish colonial regime, is the oldest continuously functioning university in the Americas. In October 2013, Lima was chosen in a ceremony in Toronto to host the 2019 Pan American Games. It also hosted the 2014 United Nations Climate Change Conference in December of that year and the Miss Universe 1982 pageant. Etymology. According to early Spanish chronicles, the Lima area was once called Iijjccoo, after its original inhabitants. However, even before the Inca occupation of the area in the 15th century, a famous oracle in the Rímac Valley had come to be known by visitors as Limac. This oracle was eventually destroyed by the Spanish and replaced with a church, but the name persisted in the local language, and so the chronicles show Limac replacing Ychma as the common name for the area. Modern scholars speculate that the word Lima originated as the Spanish pronunciation of the native name Limac. Linguistic evidence seems to support this theory, as spoken Spanish consistently rejects stop consonants in word final position. The city was founded in 1535 under the name City of the Kings because its foundation was decided on January 6, date of the Feast of the Epiphany. Nevertheless, this name quickly fell into disuse and Lima became the city's name of choice on the oldest Spanish maps of Peru. Both Lima and Ciudad de los Reyes can be seen together as names for the city. The river that feeds Lima is called Rímac, and many people erroneously assume that this is because its original Inca name is Talking River. However, the original inhabitants of the valley were not the Incas, and this name is actually an innovation arising from an effort by the Cuzco nobility in colonial times to standardize the toponym so that it would conform to the phonology of Cuzco Quechua. Later, as the original inhabitants of the valley died out and the local Quechua became extinct, the Cuzco pronunciation prevailed. In modern times, Spanish-speaking locals do not see the connection between the name of their city and the name of the river that runs through it. They often assume that the valley is named after the river. However, Spanish documents from the colonial period show the opposite to be true. Symbols. Flag. Historically, the flag of Lima has been known as the banner of Peru's King's City. It's made from a golden-color silk canvas and embroidery in the center is its coat of arms. Anthem. Lima's anthem was heard for the first time on January 18, 2008. In a formal meeting with important politics such as Peruvian President Alan Garcia, Lima's Mayor Luis Castaneda Locio, and other authorities. The people in charge of the anthem creation were Luis Enrique Tort, Uding Machero and the record producer Ricardo Núñez. History. In the pre-Columbian era, the location of what is now the city of Lima was inhabited by several Amerindian groups under the Ychma polity, which was incorporated into the Inca Empire in the 15th century. In 1532, a group of Spanish conquistadors led by Francisco Pizarro defeated the Inca ruler Atahualpa and took over his empire. As the Spanish crown had named Pizarro governor of the lands he conquered, he chose the Rímac Valley to found his capital on January 18, 1535 in Ciudad de los Reyes. In August 1536, rebel Inca troops led by Manco Inca besieged the city but were defeated by the Spaniards and their native allies. Lima gained prestige after being designated capital of the Viceroyalty of Peru and site of a real audiencia in 1543. During the next century it flourished as the center of an extensive trade network which integrated the Viceroyalty with the rest of the Americas, Europe and the Far East. However, the city was not free from dangers. The presence of pirates and privateers in the Pacific Ocean led to the building of the walls of Lima between 1684 and 1687. Also in this last year a powerful earthquake destroyed most of the city buildings. The earthquake marked a turning point in the history of Lima as it coincided with the recession in trade and growing economic competition with other cities such as Buenos Aires. In 1746, a powerful earthquake severely damaged Lima and destroyed Callao, forcing a massive rebuilding effort under Viceroy José Antonio Manzo de Velasco. In the later half of the 18th century, Enlightenment ideas on public health and social control shaped the development of the city. During this period, Lima was adversely affected by the Bourbon reforms as it lost its monopoly on overseas trade and its control over the important mining region of Upper Peru. The city's economic decline made its elite dependent on royal and ecclesiastical appointment and thus reluctant to advocate independence. A combined expedition of Argentine and Chilean patriots under General José de San Martin landed south of Lima in 1820 but did not attack the city. Faced with a naval blockade and the action of guerrillas on land, Viceroy José de la Serna y Hinojosa evacuated its capital in July 1821 to save the Royalist army. Fearing a popular uprising and lacking any means to impose order, the city council invited San Martin to enter Lima and signed a declaration of independence at his request. However, the war was not over. In the next 2 years the city changed hands several times. After independence, Lima became the capital of the Republic of Peru, but economic stagnation and political turmoil brought urban development to a halt. This hiatus ended in the 1850s, when increased public and private revenues from guano exports led to a rapid development of the city. The export-led expansion also widened the gap between rich and poor, fostering social unrest. During the 1879 to 1883 War of the Pacific, Chilean troops occupied Lima, looting public museums, libraries and educational institutions. At the same time, angry mobs attacked wealthy citizens and the Asian population, sacking their properties and businesses. After the war, the city underwent a process of renewal and expansion from the 1890s up to the 1920s. During this period, the urban layout was modified by the construction of big avenues that crisscrossed the city and connected it with neighboring towns. On May 24, 1940, an earthquake destroyed most of the city, which at that time was mostly built of adobe and quincha. In the 1940s, Lima started a period of rapid growth spurred by migration from the Andean regions of Peru, as rural people sought opportunities for work and education. The population, estimated at 0.6 million in 1940, reached 1.9 million by 1960 and 4.8 million by 1980. At the start of this period, the urban area was confined to a triangular area bounded by the city's historic center, Callao and Chorrillos. In the following decades, settlements spread to the north, beyond the Rímac River, to the east, along the Central Highway, and to the south. The new migrants, at first confined to slums in downtown Lima, led this expansion through large-scale land invasions, which evolved into shanty towns, known as pueblos jovens. Geography. The urban area of Lima covers about 800 square kilometers. It is located on mostly flat terrain in the Peruvian coastal plain, within the valleys of the Chillón, Rímac and Lurin rivers. The city slopes gently from the shores of the Pacific Ocean into valleys and mountain slopes located as high as 1,550 meters above sea level. Within the city there are isolated hills which are not connected to the surrounding hill chains, such as El Agustino, San Cosme, El Pino, La Milla, Malaria and Pro Hills. The San Cristobal Hill in the Rímac district, which lies directly north of the downtown area, is the local extreme of an Andean hill outgrowth. Metro Lima covers 2,672.28 square kilometers, of which 825.88 square kilometers comprise the actual city and 1,846.40 square kilometers the city outskirts. The urban area extends around 60 kilometers from north to south and around 30 kilometers from west to east. The city center is located 15 kilometers inland at the shore of the Rímac River, a vital resource for the city, since it carries what will become drinking water for its inhabitants and fuels the hydroelectric dams that provide electricity to the area. While no official administrative definition for the city exists, it is usually considered to be composed of the central 30 of 43 districts of Lima province, corresponding to an urban area centered around the historic Cercado de Lima district. The city is the core of the Lima metro area, one of the 10 largest metro areas in the Americas. Lima is the world's second largest desert city, after Cairo, Egypt. Lima's climate is in transition between mild and warm, despite being located in the tropics and in a desert. Lima's proximity to the cool waters of the Pacific Ocean leads to temperatures much cooler than those expected for a tropical desert, and can be classified as a mild desert climate. It is neither cold nor very hot. Temperatures rarely fall below 14 degrees Celsius or rise above 29 degrees Celsius throughout the entire year. Two distinct seasons can be identified: summer, from December through April, and winter from June through October. May and November are generally transition months, with the warm to cool weather transition being more dramatic. Summers are warm, humid, and sunny. Daily temperatures oscillate between lows of 18 degrees Celsius to 22 degrees Celsius, and highs of 24 degrees Celsius to 29 degrees Celsius. Skies are generally cloud-free, especially during daytime. Occasional coastal fogs on some mornings and high clouds in some afternoons and evenings can be present. Summer sunsets are well known for being colorful. As such, they have been labeled by the locals as cielo de brujas, since the sky commonly turns shades of orange, pink and red around 7 p.m. Winter weather is dramatically different. Gray skies, breezy conditions, high humidity and cool temperatures prevail. Long stretches of dark overcast skies are not uncommon. Persistent morning drizzle occurs occasionally from June through September, coating the streets with a thin layer of water that generally dries up by early afternoon. Winter temperatures vary little between day and night. They range from lows of 14 degrees Celsius to 16 degrees Celsius and highs of 16 degrees Celsius to 19 degrees Celsius, rarely exceeding 20 degrees Celsius except in the easternmost districts. Relative humidity is always very high, particularly in the mornings. High humidity produces brief morning fog in the early summer and a usually persistent low cloud deck during the winter. The predominantly onshore flow makes the Lima area one of the cloudiest among the entire Peruvian coast. Lima has only 1284 hours of sunshine a year, 28.6 hours in July and 179.1 hours in January, which is exceptionally little for the latitude. Winter cloudiness prompts locals to seek for sunshine in Andean valleys located at elevations generally above 500 meters above sea level. While relative humidity is high, rainfall is very low due to strong atmospheric stability. The severely low rainfall impacts on water supply in the city, which originates from wells and from rivers that flow from the Andes. Inland districts receive anywhere between 1 to 6 centimeters of rainfall per year, which accumulates mainly during the winter months. Coastal districts receive only 1 to 3 centimeters. As previously mentioned, winter precipitation occurs in the form of persistent morning drizzle events. These are locally called garua, llovizna, or kamanchakas. Summer rain, on the other hand, is infrequent, and occurs in the form of isolated light and brief showers. These generally occur during afternoons and evenings when leftovers from Andean storms arrive from the east. The lack of heavy rainfall arises from high atmospheric stability caused, in turn, by the combination of cool waters from semi-permanent coastal upwelling and the presence of the cold Humboldt current and warm air aloft associated with the South Pacific anticyclone. Lima's climate gets severely disrupted in El Niño events. Coastal waters usually average around 17 to 19 degrees Celsius but get much warmer. Air temperatures rise accordingly. Such was the case when Lima hit its all-time record high of 34 degrees Celsius. Cooler climate develops during La Niña years. The all-time record low in the metro area is 8 degrees Celsius, measured in winter 1988. Demographics. With a municipal population of 8,852,000, and 9,752,000 for the metropolitan area and a population density of 3,008.8 inhabitants per square kilometre as of 2007. Lima ranks as the 30th most populous agglomeration in the world, as of 2014. Its population features a complex mix of racial and ethnic groups. Mestizos of mixed Amerindian and European ancestry are the largest ethnic group. European Peruvians are the second largest group. Many are of Spanish, Italian or German descent. Many others are of French, British, or Croatian descent. The minorities in Lima include Amerindians and Afro-Peruvians, whose African ancestors were initially brought to the region as slaves. There are also numerous Jews of European descent and Middle Easterners. Asians make up a large number of the metropolitan population, especially of Chinese and Japanese descent, whose ancestors came mostly in the 19th and early 20th centuries. Lima has, by far, the largest ethnic Chinese community in Latin America. The first settlement in what would become Lima was made up of 117 housing blocks. In 1562, another district was built at the other side of the Rímac River, and in 1610, the first stone bridge was built. Lima then had a population of around 26,000. Blacks made up around 40% of the population, and whites made up around 38% of the population. By 1748, the white population totaled 16,000–18,000. In 1861, the number of inhabitants surpassed 100,000, and by 1927, this had doubled. During the early 20th century, thousands of immigrants came to the city, including people of German, French, Italian, and British descent. They organized social clubs and built their own schools. Examples are the American Peruvian School, the Alianza Francesa de Lima, the Liceo Franco-Peruvian, and the Hospital Maison de Santé, Markham College. The British Peruvian School in Monterrico, Antonio Raimondi District Italian School, the Pestalozzi Swiss School, and also several German Peruvian schools. Immigrants influenced Peruvian cuisine, with Italians in particular exerting a strong influence in the Miraflores and San Isidro areas with their restaurants, called trattorias. A great number of Chinese immigrants, and a lesser number of Japanese, came to Lima and established themselves in the Barrios Altos neighborhood near downtown Lima. Lima residents refer to their Chinatown as Calcapon, and the city's ubiquitous chief restaurants, small, sit-down, usually Chinese-run restaurants serving the Peruvian spin on Chinese cuisine, can be found by the dozens in this Chinese enclave. In 2014, the National Institute for Statistics and Information reported that the population of Lima in its 49 districts was 9,752,000 people, including the constitutional province of Callao. The city of Lima represents around 29% of the population of Peru. Of the total population for the city, around 48.7% are men and 51.3% are women. The 49 districts in metropolitan Lima are often divided into 5 areas: Cono Norte, Lima Este, Constitutional Province of Callao, Lima Centro, and Lima Sur. The largest areas are Lima Norte with 2,475,432 people and Lima Este with 2,619,814 people, including the largest single district, San Juan de Lurigancho, which surpasses 1 million people in population. In general, Lima is considered a young city. According to INEI, mid-2014, the age distribution in Lima would be as follows: 24.3% between 0 and 14, 27.2% between 15 and 29, 22.5% between 30 and 44, 15.4% between 45 and 59, and 10.6% above 60. There is also a high level of immigration to Lima from the rest of the regions in the country. In 2013, 3,480,000 people reported being immigrants from other regions in the country. This represents almost 36% of the entire population of metropolitan Lima. The 3 regions from where people immigrate the most to Lima are Junín, Ixjccoo, and Iijjccoo. On the contrary, only 390,000 emigrated from Lima to other regions of the country. The annual population growth rate for Lima is 1.57%. Of the 43 districts in the metropolitan area of Lima, some are considerably more populous than others. For example, 6 districts in Lima surpass the 400,000 people mark, while the ones with the least amount of people have populations of less than 60,000 people. A household survey study published in 2005 shows a socio-economic distribution for households in Lima. The common distribution considers a monthly family income of 6,000 nuevos soles or more for socio-economic level A, 2,000 to 6,000 nuevos soles for level B, 840 to 2,000 nuevos soles for level C, 420 to 1,200 nuevos soles for level D, and up to 840 nuevos soles for level E. The distribution of socio-economic level for households in Lima is 18% level E, 32.3% level D, 31.7% level C, 14.6% level B, and 3.4% level A. In this sense, 82% of the population lives in households that earn up to 2,000 nuevos soles monthly. Other salient differences between socio-economic levels are levels of higher education, car ownership, size of the home, among other things. In metropolitan Lima in 2013, the percentage of the population living in households in poverty is 12.8%. The level of poverty is measured by households that are unable to access a basic food basket and other household goods and services, such as clothing, housing, education, transportation, health, etc. The level of poverty has decreased from 2011 and 2012. The area in Lima with the highest proportion of poverty is Lima Sur, followed by Lima Este, and Lima Norte, and Lima Centro. In addition, 0.2% of the population lives in extreme poverty, meaning that they are unable to access a basic food basket.